Hey guys, welcome back to RevAtlas. I'm Sandeep, and in today's video we're going to be discussing the Mi Neckband Bluetooth earphones that I'm wearing currently, and we're going to be reviewing the same as well. Now before we get started, please do make sure to give us a thumbs up at the end of the video if you happen to enjoy it, and also do hit the subscribe button for more videos like this. Now let's talk about the Bluetooth earphones themselves. So let's start by talking about the design itself, and as the name neckband suggests, it goes around your neck, and this portion here in particular is finished in a matte sort of style, and it comes in a rubber material which is really flexible and really bendy. And what this means is that you don't necessarily need to use two hands. If you want to get it off your neck, you can easily just use one hand and then pull it off your neck. It's still easy that way, and you can be sure that you don't actually break it unintentionally. Now when it comes to the bottom tips, which actually lead onto the earphones themselves, this is finished in a glossy plastic material. I quite like the two-tone design in terms of looks, but I kind of feel that the plastic material here is a bit cheap in terms of the quality. But then again, when I thought of it deeply, I kind of understood that the whole reason for that, for using lightweight materials, is to make sure that this doesn't bother you much when you have it resting on your neck. So I still remember quite some time back when I started reviewing wireless earphones, and particularly around the neck designs, they had an issue where I felt sort of tired over here at the back portion of my neck because of the weight that they had. So over time now, technology has developed to a point where you can have very lightweight materials, and the earphones themselves don't weigh you down or give you fatigue over long periods of use. But that is the main advantage you have when you have something this light. So once you put it on, you won't really know it's there, and you can just be carefree and talk almost as good as having truly wireless earphones, I would say. But the benefit of this is that you don't actually have to remove it and put it in a case or something like that. It's for people who just want to quickly switch on and off between listening and not listening. And speaking of which, it also has magnetic tips which connect and make sure that they don't dangle around too much when you're not using them. So it's pretty useful that way, and the magnets are pretty strong, so unless you intended to, they're not going to come apart. So if you have to pull it, also you have to give a reasonable amount of force in order to separate them. Now, one thing I didn't like about these magnets was that they don't automatically pause the music. But then again, considering the price point of rupees 1,599, that's still kind of acceptable, I guess. And overall, in terms of the design itself, I think they have done very well, and they've given the priority to function over form is what I feel. And the right hand side here is pretty much empty. It does lead to the right earphone, but the left side is where you have all the controls as well as the charging port, which is a micro USB port. So this takes around 2 hours to charge using the micro USB port, and it also comes with a 120 mAh battery, which they say gives you around 8 hours of playback if you listen to it at about 80%. Now in our experience, we got around 5.5 to 6 hours, or even 6.5 hours total battery life, which is still pretty good. And again, it depends on your usage as well as to how much you actually get. So the left side also houses the volume rocker button as well as the power key, and you also get an LED notification light and a microphone. Now when you actually wear it, the microphone is pretty close to your mouth, much closer than when it's on truly wireless earphones. So audio quality was pretty great in terms of calls. We could hear the party at the other end perfectly fine, and they could also hear us really well. So it's really good for that. And even in terms of actually finding out which button to press, considering that they have dots on top and they're actually raised above the surface, it was easy to find. And it's easy and gives good tactile feedback also. Now in terms of the controls, it's actually a bit weird because normally you have the power button doubling up as the play pause button as well as the previous and next track button. But in this case, what happens is that when you double press it, it actually launches the assistant, and you need to use the volume up and down key by long pressing them in order to go to the previous or next track. So it might take a bit getting used to if you're actually someone who has used the other sort of layout and it's not customizable, but it's still not a deal breaker in my opinion. Now when it comes to the sound quality, I quite liked the quality in terms of the dynamic range, in terms of the bass, and in terms of the sound isolation itself. So when you actually wear this, although there's no noise cancelling involved, active noise cancelling, it still isolates you pretty well from the outside world, and even 50% of volume is good enough to kind of make sure that you don't hear much of the outside world. Now the other benefit is that there's not much sound leakage either. So when I actually play this, and it's currently set to 100% of volume, I don't think you can hear much of it. Yeah, that's about it. That's the maximum that it goes up to. Even at 100%, you can't hear much of sound, and when you plug it in, it's even lesser. In terms of the fit, I personally am using the ear tips that came out of the box, and they fit me perfectly well, and as I said, it gives me good isolation as well. But they also give 2 additional ear tips in case you want to find the perfect fit for your ear. And overall, in terms of the sound, it's pretty good. And the only thing I can kind of complain is that it does support Bluetooth 5.0, but it supports only one connection at a time. So that's kind of weird, having Bluetooth 5.0 but not being able to connect to 2 devices at one time. But then again, at the asking price of rupees 1,599, this is a pretty good set of earphones. But if you're looking to use this while running, I won't exactly recommend, and I would rather recommend truly wireless earphones, considering that this neckband is bound to jump up and down and move across places when you're running. So it'll kind of restrict your movement and kind of keep hitting you over and over again. So if you're using this for walking or just regular everyday use, or even sitting in a room and still listening to music or even talking to people, is great. But it's not really for someone who's going out on a run, and that's because of the kind of design that it has. So it could kind of irritate you over long periods of time. So I would suggest it's not for runners, but for almost everyone else who wants a good pair of earphones in terms of the sound quality, battery life, and overall design, and even the value for money ratio, this is a good buy. That's it for this video, guys. If you have any questions, do let us know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next one.